Welcome everyone. In this video, I'm going to be answering my subscribers' Q&A questions. And by the way, this is a politics only version. As you can tell, my channel is politics only if you are new here. And by the way, please do subscribe. We are so close. We are on the road to 300 subscribers. Let's see if I can get to 300 subscribers by next week. I think we're currently at 238. Or at least, let's get to 250 subscribers by next week. I think that's more accurate. I think we can do that. And turn on post notifications so you don't miss out any political videos. So I'm going to be answering my subscribers' political Q&A questions. So let's begin with the first question. These people, or actually most of them, who filled in these forms to ask me the Q&A questions are political YouTubers themselves. So just to clear that out the way, so Conservative Cowboy Elections, who is a subscriber of mine, asks, who will be the Democratic nominee if Biden does not run in 2024? So the main focus is Kamala Harris. A lot of people are talking about, oh, what if Kamala Harris is going to run? Well, I can tell you right now, she's not going to run. You know why she's not going to run? Because she is the vice president right now, and she knows what it's like to be president, and she knows that if she's going to be president, she's going to be terrible at it. And if that's the case, then I think she's not going to run. And people, saying that, oh, it's gonna be Kamala Harris if Biden doesn't run, or it might be. I doubt it. I think the only way she becomes president is if Joe Biden doesn't make it in his first term. That's the only way. If he doesn't make it from old age, that's the only way she becomes president. Other than that, I don't think she'll be president of the United States ever. So Kamala Harris out of the picture. I just want to clear that out of the way. I disagree with the people who say it could be Kamala Harris. Other than that, I do have someone in mind, and that is my governor of my home state of California, Gavin Newsom. There have been hints that he would run. He attacked Governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, with ads. He put ads in Florida, which is not even his state. It's across country. And that could indicate you that Gavin Newsom is setting a potential 2024 bid if Biden doesn't run. Which, first of all, would Biden run? In my opinion, I don't think Biden would run for a second term. I think if he does make it in his first term at all alive, which he's sinking in the approval rating numbers, as we all know. Which, by the way, gas prices are set to lower, I believe, to $4 a gallon on average. So just to clear that the way as well, gas prices have been reported to slightly decrease because they have been increased, obviously, from inflation, but they have been reported to decrease very soon. So just to put that out of the way, but I think Gavin Newsom is actually going to run for president in 2024. I really do think so. I think the top three contenders will be Gavin Newsom, Pete Buttigieg, and probably someone else. But yeah, I think Pete Buttigieg is going to be a very, top contender. And I think Bernie Sanders too. He is 80. He's past 80. So you might be thinking he's not going to run. He's past 80. Well, Joe Biden is the president right now in a terrible condition. So Bernie Sanders can do it. But Bernie Sanders is still older than Biden. But look, I think Bernie Sanders, Gavin Newsom, and Pete Buttigieg will be the top three. Out of all of those, I think Gavin Newsom has the best shot at winning the Democratic nomination. If it's not Gavin Newsom, probably Bernie Sanders, but maybe Bernie Sanders won't even run. So who will be the Democratic nominee if Biden doesn't run? I'm saying it right now, it's going to be Gavin Newsom. Kamala Harris is a joke. Don't even think about it. Gavin Newsom, I'm focusing on him. I can tell you right now, if I am right in the next 3 years, I can tell you right now, it's going to be Gavin Newsom. Well, that's the first question for you guys. Next up is the second question. Another political YouTuber, a close friend of mine, it is actually a Twitter friend, Red Ohio Elections asks, what is my favorite senator? My favorite senator is Democrat Senator Joe Manchin from the red state of West Virginia. And let me tell you why he's my favorite senator, even though he's a Democrat. First of all, he can appeal to anyone. He can appeal to both parties. He can appeal even to the opposite party. Well, he is a moderate Democrat, which is basically, I would say, one of the reasons why he got elected in a very Republican state. But he still has the D next to his name, and he won in a solid Republican state, arguably the reddest state out of all 50 in America, arguably. You can argue Wyoming as well, but just to pull out the way. Well, you can argue he's also a moderate, but, he still has the D next to his name, and a safe Republican state. He appeals to Republicans. He appeals to, I believe, some Democrats, even though he's a Democrat. A lot of them hate him because they call him, they think he's betrayed the party. They think he, betrayal to the Democratic Party. He's a Democrat. He's a moderate one, though. And I mean, I think he is the best Democratic senator out there. Second best Democrat that comes in mind, probably Kyrsten Sinema from the state of Arizona. Other than that, Joe Biden, not Joe Biden, we're not talking about that guy. Joe Manchin is top tier when it comes to senators. In fact, Joe Manchin, the moderate Democratic senator from West Virginia, is, I think, better than a lot of Republican senators out there. Joe Manchin is arguably better than a lot of Republican senators out there. Even Republicans can agree. Just like, I would actually rather have Joe Manchin as president rather than the Republican Mitt Romney. I'd rather have him as president. I would rather have Kyrsten Sinema as president rather than Liz Cheney. I think Republicans can agree on that. That's how good of a Democrat Joe Manchin is. He's my favorite senator. He is, I think, better than a lot of Republican senators out there. And I think he takes my number one spot. Second, Kyrsten Sinema. And the main reasons why Kyrsten Sinema is at 2, Joe Manchin's at 1 in my favorite senator list, I would say, is because they can appeal to a lot of Americans. They are fair. I think they care about both parties of the aisle, and that's what I like. Joe Manchin is fair to Republicans. He's fair to his own party, the Democratic Party. And Democrats who think they betray him, betray the party, are flat out wrong. And they should be grateful that they have a Democrat in Joe Manchin, a Democrat in Kyrsten Sinema, who are moderates, I believe, that actually have common sense. Most Democrats these days don't. So Democrats should be thankful that they have Joe Manchin on their side, Kyrsten Sinema. And he's not betraying you. He is very truthful. And a lot of the deals that he blocked from Joe Biden, those aren't the betrayal to the Democratic Party. So Elections and Politics, another political YouTuber, asks, what are my thoughts on ranked choice voting? So, tell me if I'm wrong. I believe ranked choice voting, just to clarify, let me know if I'm wrong in the comment section down below, and tell me what it is, but I think I'm right. I believe ranked choice voting is, let's say you voted in a Democratic primary. You voted for, I would say, Gavin Newsom. He drops out of the race. You can vote for a second option. You can vote for Pete Buttigieg if Gavin Newsom drops out of the race. Now, with what we have right now, we don't have ranked choice voting. What we have right now is if you vote for Gavin Newsom, he drops out, your vote goes to waste, and you cannot vote for a second option. With ranked choice voting, if your first option goes out, or drops out of the race, opts out of the race, you can vote for a second option. Who would you prefer for second option? Secondly, if you know what I'm saying. So my thoughts on ranked choice voting is it's very interesting. I think it needs to be talked about more. I think it needs to be heard about more. I think ranked choice voting is a very good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Ranked choice voting is a great thing. Now, that's what I think it is. Let me know if I'm wrong. I believe it's second options and third options in a primary. So thoughts on ranked choice voting, I think it's very interesting. I think it needs to be talked about more. To put this in a very short way, sum it up, I think ranked choice voting is very unique. I think it's good because, I don't want my vote going to waste. I think if I voted for, I would say, Ron DeSantis in 2024, and he drops out of the race, I would obviously want to vote for a second option who I think is secondly best. Well, honestly, what we have right now isn't also the worst. I mean, it's basically your one vote determines everything. You vote for one person, and that's it. That's what we have right now. I don't hate that, but also, I think ranked choice voting is also a good thing. So, next question. Politics asks a second question. Thank you for asking me more than 2 questions. I appreciate that. feel free, guys, for my next Q&A to ask me more than one question, obviously. He asks, what's the most important issue for me? Well, there's a lot of, issues out there, whether it's systemic racism. That can be the most important issue for me, but it's not. It could be prevent election fraud. It can be it can be a lot of things. Economy, which I think at this point the economy is number one for me. Obviously, there's a lot of them. I think economy is number one. I think you don't want to be paying high gas prices. You don't want to have high inflation. I think if the economy was good, if we had low inflation, if we had like almost no inflation at all, if gas prices were good, if things were cheap, if things were more affordable, I think that suits me. Honestly, there's not really another issue. Okay, so this guy is not another political YouTuber. He's actually just a subscriber, I believe, because, yeah. He asks, what do you think would win if it's Newsom versus DeSantis in 2024? Well, this is interesting, because I actually made an election night DeSantis versus Newsom in 2024. So go check that out, by the way. And you can watch a bunch of other videos on my channel, but we're talking about this specifically. So I actually made an election night, by the way, which ties to my answer. And in that election night, I had DeSantis taking the narrow victory, narrow margins of all margins, bro. That was the narrowest margins of all margins for a DeSantis victory. I had him winning by 273 electoral votes. You need 270 to pass to take the White House, to take the Oval Office. I had him winning by 3 electoral votes. That could be the smallest state of Rhode Island. Rhode Island has 3 electoral votes, I believe, or 4. I mean, that's how narrow I had that race being. And that's my actual prediction as of right now. Things do change over time. We didn't even hit 2023 primaries yet. So as of right now, I have DeSantis taking the narrow victory. I think Newsom would be better in the Rust Belt, slightly over DeSantis, although I do think DeSantis would win Wisconsin. I think Newsom has a better shot at winning Pennsylvania. I think Michigan. I think he has a better shot at winning Michigan rather than Pennsylvania. If it had to be one, I would say Newsom would take Michigan over, and DeSantis would take Pennsylvania. DeSantis isn't the best to appeal to Rust Belt voters. I think we all can realize that. DeSantis, keep in mind, is more approved than Newsom. DeSantis is more approved in his home state rather than Newsom is approved in his home state. DeSantis has I believe 20% approval rating. Tell me if I'm wrong. To Newsom's negative 1%. So that is a big difference, major difference. Newsom is in a safe Democratic state. He is in a safe state of his own party, and he's disapproved by 1%. Like, come on. DeSantis, on the other hand, is not in a solid Republican state. And he's still vastly way more popular approved in that state. Rather than Gavin Newsom's own solid Democratic state. That tells you right now. And I think DeSantis would probably win. Would he win by a lot? No. I think DeSantis would struggle in some areas in the Rust Belt. Let me know if you agree with me with that. But would it be enough to cause a Gavin Newsom victory? I think Gavin Newsom's going to take the slight defeat. And I think a Trump versus Newsom will be the actual outcome in 2024. That's my prediction. I think DeSantis will run for president in 2028. That's my predictions for the upcoming presidential elections. DeSantis 2028, Trump 2024. So let me know if you guys agree with me. And maybe Glenn Youngkin in 2032, maybe 2036. But that's a different story. We're not going to get that far. Okay, so those are all of your guys' questions. Anybody who had a question, I answered all of them. So nobody should be left out. If you didn't ask the question, then that's why you're not up here. If you did, then you're more than likely going to be up here. I don't think I missed anything. So if I did get you up here, go down in the comment section down below and request for a shout out so I can shout you out. So thank you for doing that. And thank you guys so much. That is going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope I answered your guys' questions. that you've been wanting to hear from me.